right, so the Proteas head into the second test against India at the Wanderers later today with their backs against the wall. It's a must-win test for the hosts, and to preview where they need to improve, we now cross to Lungani Zama via Zoom. A very good morning, Mr. Zama. Thanks for taking the time to speak to us. I mean, one of the recent news coming out of Cricket South Africa's camps was the retirement of Quinton de Kock. What do you make of the announcement just recently, Mr. Zama? Can you hear me, Mr. Zama?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. So can you just give us some reaction with regards to Quinton de Kock's retirement?
Yeah, I think obviously it's shocked all of us as cricket fans, really, the fact that at 29 years old, Quinton de Kock has called it a day. We all knew that he was going to miss the rest of the series for the birth of his first child, but to then call time on his entire career, I think has taken the entire cricket world by surprise, because he's supposed to be at the peak of his powers at this stage. So it's really sad for cricket, never mind South African cricket, because he's obviously, when you look at it realistically in terms of global icons, he's probably the most respected or the most feared cricketer in that South African team, and they're quite short of stars at the moment.
Mr. Zama, I mean, the cricketing fraternity is still coming to terms with the announcement, but what other reason strong enough could be, the reason that de Kock is hanging up his gloves, especially from Test cricket?
Look, I think it's been well documented that Quinton de Kock has been not a fan of the bubble life. And I think, as South Africans, even though we've started opening up again, people had a normal new year recently, the reality for international sportsmen and women, particularly cricketers, is that you're still living in these extensive biosecure bubbles, and it's abnormal. The only people that you see are your teammates day in, day out. There's no interaction, and it's taxing, and it's been taxing now for the better part of 2 years. And as much as we can say that they're very well paid and they're staying in luxury hotels, and they've got all these perks, it's a very abnormal society. And I think Quinton has had a few mental breaks. He's said on record how tough it is. So, you add all those factors together, and I think you come to this point where he says, actually, the biggest bubble that you deal with is when you're in a test series, because you're in 2 weeks before, and you're in pretty much until the end, unless you break. And once you break, you can't come back in. So, the most important thing is obviously the birth of his daughter, which I think any father will tell you, if they had the option to stay at home and make sure that you're there for every single moment, you probably would. And unfortunately, for South African cricket, he's got that privilege to make that decision for himself. And you can only wish him the best. Obviously, it's sad for cricket, but, there is a bigger picture here where, if you've got the opportunity to be a father and do it properly, you can't begrudge him that. He's made his choice.
Happy with that, Lungani. Let's speak about his replacement in Verreynne coming in, last minute. Still, the cricket fraternity very shocked at the announcement, of course, of Quinton de Kock. But the big question here is he the right candidate to fill the position, especially thinking about the fact that he's got a wicket keep probably long-term as well?
Yeah, look, I think if you speak to anyone in Cape Town, Verreynne has been knocking and knocking and knocking on that door. Even if Quinton was still in the picture, there was conversations about de Kock taking the gloves off and focusing purely on batting. And, because so promising is this Verreynne talent. So, the fact that it's come up in these circumstances, in terms of the long-term prospects of it, I'm sure he's very excited. And that's... Ultimately, that's the game and sports in general. As heroes fall on the wayside, there's opportunity for others to come and take that place. For Verreynne, the fact that he can now look at this as a long-term job, if he does start well, that's extremely exciting for him. And as much as we're disappointed about what's happened with Quinton de Kock and the manner of his exit, you've got to realize that there's another South African hero who could potentially start. Verreynne is a fantastic batsman. He's not just a stopgap. He's a quality wicketkeeper, but he's an attacking batsman as well. A lot of the noise that we made about Quinton de Kock initially...
I've got to jump in there, Lungani. Sorry, we are running out of time. Very quickly, just ahead of the second test at the Wanderers between South Africa and India, I just have 10 seconds. How do you think we will do over the next 4 to 5 days?
put a mountain to climb for South Africa. If they can get a result, even a draw, they've done really well, because India have a chance at history, and Virat Kohli is not the type to let that go.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time there, freelance sports journalist Lungani Zama, with his thoughts on the second test between South Africa and India, and as well just shedding some light on the recent retirement announcement of Quinton de Kock as he hangs up his gloves from Test cricket.